Should anybody be buying a home right now? That's exactly what we're going to cover right now. And while I'd love to shoot the rest of this video in my backyard and perhaps jump in the pool, it is way too hot outside. So I'm going to pivot and we're going to get into it right now. And we're back. Should anyone buy a home right now? And we are going to get into that granularly right now. And please stick around until the end because I am going to show exactly what's happening in the Boca Raton, Boynton Beach, Delray Beach housing markets as of right now. Because the numbers, the appreciation, the value increases that have happened over the course of the last month are explosive. And while in one of my last videos, I talked about the reverse housing crash that I expect to see happen, I'll be totally transparent. Anybody who's using that as a hook to get you to watch is really just saying the market is going higher. Home prices are going higher. The opposite direction of reverse is forward. And that is where home prices in my market are going. But housing and home prices are lagging. They are the last things to be impacted by changes in the economic cycle. And the economic cycle, best I can tell, is not experiencing a reverse crash. It's experiencing credit downgrades right now. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. My name is Chris Igo. If you're a returning viewer, I appreciate your participation in our journey. If you find this content to be valuable, please subscribe because I will continue to share the truth about what's happening in each and every Florida housing market. There are 22 metros within the state. I will keep you abreast of what's going on in each as quickly as I possibly can. And breaking news, I am no longer going to only focus in Florida because I feel a fiduciary responsibility to ensure you've got the best information to make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line throughout the country. So please know moving forward, you're going to get the truth about what's happening in your local housing market. And breaking news, leading market indicator. The U.S. ratings cut is here to stay, according to the ratings company Fitch. And the last time that the United States received a rate cut, I was a professional stockbroker. I was actively trading equities in the market. And when the United States credit rating got cut, it was no bueno for equities because stocks, unlike the housing market, instantly price in change. Good, bad, right, or wrong, up or down, doesn't matter. They instantly price in good and bad news, which is why it's critical to keep an eye on what's happening in terms of the overall financial markets. And if you've been watching for a while, you know that I have shared exactly what I expect will happen as this recession worsens. And I've warned everyone that no politician, no government official, no talking head is going to go out there and panic the market. In fact, prior to the housing market crash that was devastating for many, Fed Treasurer Ben Bernanke went in front of Congress and swore it was impossible that the housing market could ever crash because the housing market had never crashed before. Up until it did. And I read your comments. I know that there are a lot of you out there that believe the market only goes in one direction. There are many of you that believe the market goes one way. And I've got news for you. That's not true. Every market, housing, financial, or otherwise, can go up, down, or sideways, period. But as far as housing is concerned, in my market, supply and demand will always dictate price. And speaking of price, global stock markets fell sharply yesterday after ratings agency Fitch downgraded the United States long-term foreign currency issued default rating from AAA to AA plus. And to be abundantly clear, I'm not an economist, I'm not an analyst, and I'm not a financial advisor anymore. But I do know that AAA down to AA plus might as well be an F. But the same analyst who downgraded the S&P back in 2011 downgraded it again. And last time he downgraded the credit score of the United States, It had a lot to do with the political polarization after a prolonged and fraught squabble in Washington over raising the debt ceiling. You remember the debt ceiling, right? Well, evidently, no one in the government seems to care because, in their world, in their view, there is no ceiling. I suspect many of them believe that the debt ceiling goes on forever, to infinity and beyond. And while it's factually true, the same issues that were happening in 2011 as far as the debt ceiling crisis are concerned are still in play today. The most recent downgrade from the same analyst is because, and I absolutely 100% appreciate his candor, it does not take a grand, sovereign, and analytical genius to understand the fiscal profile of the United States is much worse than it has ever been. But if I'm being fully transparent, the last time the US received a downgrade on its credit score, it had zero impact on my ability to buy or sell anything. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. While I certainly have my preferences and I certainly have very strong opinions, the truth is, whoever is president has zero impact on my economic success. Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, or Biden, Republican, Democrat, irrelevant. None of them have ever negatively economically impacted me in any material way because I refuse to allow myself to be victimized by anything. And I hope I don't lose everybody here because I am going to cover should anybody buy a home right now. But before I do, I think it is much more important that we talk about the one thing that can absolutely be controlled by me and you, which of course is your mindset. I can't control the government. I can't control the financial markets. I can't control the housing market. I can't control mortgage interest rates. I can't control the banking system. I can't control the credit score of the United States. I can't control Big Papa Powell. I can't control Biden. I can't control Harris. I can't control DeSantis. I can't control COVID. I can't control Russia. I can't control China. I can't control monetary policy. I can't control the Congress. I can't control my buyers or sellers. I can't control YouTube. I can't control you. If I continue to list all of the things that I can't control, I will continue talking until I die. And I've read some of your comments. I suspect some of you would really like to see that. But I choose to live. So today we're going to get busy living or get busy dying. And if you pick the latter, then please unsubscribe now. But let's get into it. Should anybody buy a home right now? And the truth is, only you know. And as a boots on the ground operator of a high performance real estate team, I can do a lot of the heavy lifting as it relates to serving and supporting you in either your buying or selling needs. But I'm not your accountant. I'm not your financial advisor. And I'm certainly not your employer. And while I do my best to ensure that you make the right decision for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line, I don't know if buying a home is right for you, but I do know there are lots of folks out there that are feeling financial distress. In fact, and I'm going to read this, I'll pop it into the video so you can see it clearly. Even fewer Americans today can afford to foot a $400 emergency bill. That is absolutely terrifying. But this article goes on to say the share of the United States adults who said they could handle such an expense dropped to 46%. You remember last quarter, right? When the government was telling us about how we have incredible growth in the labor market. And they also touted how they're winning the war against inflation. Well, I'm not exactly sure which battle or which war they're trying to win, but I do know none of it is helping any of these folks. Just over a third of the respondents said they'd need to use some form of debt, such as a credit card, in order to pay the $400 emergency bill. And almost 1 in 5 wouldn't be able to do it at all, which tells me it's the haves versus the have-nots. Because in my housing market, home prices are exploding. The most recent data published by the MLS shows that Boca Raton sold prices increased by damn near 40% in June. And to be clear, it's a lagging number. We're in August. And 3 days into August, I can already tell that the average sold price so far is on the downtick in Boca Raton. So if you bought a home in Boca Raton last month, chances are it's not as valuable this month. But if you bought a home in Boca Raton at any point previous to that, chances are you're sitting on a metric shit ton of equity. And folks who have equity feel wealthy. They feel insulated. They feel protected. They are not worried about a $400 emergency bill. And to be abundantly clear, due to the short supply of new listings in my market, I don't suspect that we're going to see a massive correction or a crash anytime soon. But what I am noticing is that these high net worth individuals that own these high net worth houses, that have these high net worth lifestyles, are liquidating their high net worth toys. And those toys are on fire sale. In fact, I think it was only last month where Saks Realty and I went and showcased a property in Boynton Beach. And I'll pop in some videos so that you can check it out. But it was the highest priced home for sale in Boynton Beach. And the home is sick. And the luxury boats, and I should really call them yachts, that were associated with the house were also sick. But what I did not share in that video, and I am going to share now, is when we got there, we arrived early. And when I walked into the property to greet who I thought was the home seller, I quickly realized I was not talking to the homeowner. And you could imagine my confusion because obviously I had permission to be there and I had the access codes to let myself in. But when I walked into this incredible house, the first thing that I saw was the sick pool and the sick view and the tiki bar and the boats. And I noticed that there was a group of men that were sitting there at the tiki bar. So naturally, I assumed the homeowner was one of those folks. So I did what anybody would do. I walked up and introduced myself. And while these strangers who I just met and didn't know were very nice, there was something just a little bit off-putting about them. And I quickly discovered what it was. They had been dropped off by another boat and were waiting for the homeowner with a massive bag of cash. They were there to buy his boat. And I keep calling it a boat, I mean to say yacht. They were there to buy a yacht with a bag of cash. And no judgment here, that's fine, I don't care what they do. And no, I was not at all disturbed by the fact that I could clearly tell they all had sidearms. But I'm a big boy, I know how to handle myself, and I governed myself accordingly. And when the homeowner did appear, I quickly introduced myself and then gave them their privacy in order to transact the sale. And you may be asking yourself, what the hell does this story have anything to do with the housing market? Because Chris, I'm paying attention, I'm listening with the audio on or the captioning, I'm not just reacting to the thumbnails. I heard you say that Boca Raton sold prices were up 40%. And that is true. But I would encourage you to do a little bit of research and look at the luxury items for sale in your markets. Check out a yacht broker site. Check out a luxury car broker site. Check out a luxury plane broker site. And please don't get me started on NFTs or luxury watches, which I think may still be retaining value for now, but all of those markets should be paid attention to because the luxury items, the luxury toys get sold first. And those fire sales have already started. Which takes me back to the title of this video, which of course is should anybody buy a home right now? And the answer is simple, but only you can answer it. Is it right for you? Because if it is, there's nothing to fear. But if it's not, you should be terrified. Now, I hope you found this content valuable, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to click the notification bell because I will showcase all 22 Florida metros as quickly as I possibly can. And I'll very likely be covering your housing market very soon. So please check me out on Twitter where I can never be censored. Follow me on Patreon where I go off, and check out my next video because I suspect you will love it a lot. And until next time,